Good afternoon, South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. I'm Bonnie Bully. How are you, Jeannie?
Wonderful, thank you. Welcome to a brand new week. I'm Jeannie D.
Absolutely. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Monday. Today, we're focusing on opening up the industry. So we'll be speaking to some new up-and-coming incredible talents and all the amazing things that they've been doing. And also, if you've got your hands full at home with kids in the holidays and you don't know what to do with them, we've got some great crafts and fun stuff to do with them. And also, just don't plonk your kids in front of the TV. That is not a plan. So stick around for some great ideas.
Unless it's to watch this show.
Absolutely.
So speaking about great talents and opening up the industry, we kick off the show with a great new talent from Generations called Andisiwe Dweba. And she's going to be in the loft. Bonnie's going to be chatting to her a little while about her story. And of course, August is when they hold the Top Woman Awards. And we're going to be chatting to somebody about that as well.
We also chat to Siphiwo Nzawumbi, who is a new face on Siphiwo Nzawumbi, so that's going to be a riveting conversation. Danilo's in the kitchen.
So we're taking a slightly different look on the kitchen this afternoon. Good afternoon, South Africa. I hope your weekend was fantastic. I've got new friends with me in the loft today. Cynthia, welcome to the loft. How are you?
Hello, thank you. I'm good, and you?
I'm doing very good. Sanele and Chuma, how are you guys doing?
Great, how are you?
Awesome, I'm doing very good, thanks. So Bonnie mentioned that we're going to be playing with some arts and crafts later on in the show, so you guys made it, stay tuned to see how this is going to all work. You guys are going to have to teach me how to do this, because yours looks really cool. Deal?
Yes. Deal.
Give me a fist pump. There we go. Listen, on our social media platforms, if you want to be a friend of Afternoon Express too, we're asking you the question around these digital platforms that have all been released now. Do you think it's made it easier to break into the industry or not? So the question exactly in its words are, has the creative arts industry become easier to access since the rise in online platforms that may showcase your talent? You can tweet us. There's a poll running on our Twitter pages as well as on our Afternoon Express Facebook page too. We'd love to hear from you. I thought we'd start off the show with our first guest immediately with so much talent in the loft today. And joining us is actress Andisiwe Dweba. You might know her better as Getty on the SABC soap Generations The Legacy. We get to know the woman behind the character, and she tells us about the challenges in the entertainment industry.
There will be other accounts, babe.
graphic designer.
So what? You're good at it.
It's the bottom of the advertising ladder, Max. And the reason why I'll be stuck at the bottom.
Go to get your cake. No chera apunyana.
Oh, yes.
Hey, kirekile ka chanta ka mafelelo.
Come xa into bana makayitye okanye ayiphindise.
Hello, I'm right here. Kyarukwa.
Tell her to stay the hell out of my way. Apha nasemsebenzini.
Joining us now on the couch in the loft is Andisiwe Dweba. Welcome to the loft, lovely.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So you were originally born in the Eastern Cape and then came to study in Cape Town and then eventually moved to Joburg. Tell us about that transition from the Eastern Cape eventually to Joburg.
Oh, well, Eastern Cape is my roots. It's where Ngesxhosa City Ngabayam is, my family, my everything. And I came to Cape Town to study, obviously, and basically begin my career in acting. And yeah, I studied. After studying, actually I got my first break while I was doing my second year.
Yeah.
Which was Ukhululeka, which was an amazing experience. I think that's where I grew because I was working with the greatest of the great, I think, in the industry. Abutinaka, Jaka, Babjo, you know, which was great. I made some great friends that I'm still friends with that are also still in the industry on that particular set. And after that, there was no work for a while. I ended up doing a lot of commercials here and there, you know, until I actually auditioned for Generations. And I actually auditioned for Generations right here in Cape Town.
Wow, and how did that come about?
Well, you know, I was actually not supposed to go to those auditions because the character was way older than me at the time. I was 25. And the character was Priska, and she was supposed to be a model. I didn't even look like a model at the time, but I was just like, I've heard that if you get onto their tapes, maybe they'll call you.
Nice.
But anyway, that's exactly what happened. I auditioned, I didn't get the part. And then a couple of months later, they called me and they're like, listen, we're writing this new character and we'd love for you to come play it. And I was just like, it was so different from what I had auditioned for.
Yes.
But clearly they just saw something else in me and they just decided that this is what will suit you. And that's when the whole...
So you packed your bags and moved to the City of Lights.
Well, initially I didn't move. I stayed here, but I just went to shoot there for like 5 months. And then I came back. And then after that, the big 16 happened, and they called me. They were like, "Are you still interested in being in the show?" And I said, "Definitely." Why
that
not?
leads me to my next question. You're one of the few cast members who were there pre the strike and post strike.
Well,
what was that whole experience like, and the pressure of having to make a decision that is right for you, but that seemingly meets everybody else's expectations at the time?
But that's the thing I feel about that whole thing. That was the decision that was right for me at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else about what happened with anyone else, but it was just about Andisiwe at that point in time, and about Andisiwe getting a break to kickstart her career and be on the biggest show. I couldn't say no to that. I couldn't say no to that. And whatever anyone else's struggle wasn't going to be mine, and I wasn't about to take anyone else's struggle, because I've got my own struggles. I had my own personal things that I was dealing with at the time, and this is exactly what I needed at the time.
So there you were, you found yourself on one of the biggest shows in the country, reunited once again with Joe Mafela. How did the magnitude of what the show is, change your life?
Oh, it changed it completely, like a whole 360. Because, I mean, when you're on a show like Generations, no matter where you go,
literally,
no matter where you go, you are recognized. And people expect you, because I play a very bubbly, lovable, happy character. The girl next door, really. So a lot of people,
they want to see
assume they know me.
Well, they want to see that person.
Me. Love for them to know my real name, but half the time no one actually knows my name. But it's okay. I mean, it comes with the job, it comes with the territory, that's what it is.
I don't think anyone's ever going to know your real name except for us, because that's happened to me my whole career. I don't think I've ever been called Bonnie by more than like 10 people.
But what do they call you? What do they call you?
All the character names, every single character I've ever played, whichever one they choose at that moment.
Whatever. That's exactly what happens with me. I feel like no matter, even if I do something else, I think I'll always be Getty to people, because that's who they relate to. But it's okay. I love it. I love the love. I appreciate the love. The one thing I've learned is that without the people that watch the show, without the fans, I don't like using that word, there wouldn't be a generation. So hence I say it comes with the territory. It is what it is. You wanted to be an actress, and then you.
I also hate that word fan. I mean, they're more stakeholders, because they make generations happen as much as everybody else.
I don't like using that word.
Absolutely.
At all.
What are some of the challenges that came with fame on that scale that you hadn't imagined or weren't prepared for?
Well, the fact that you can't just go to any shop or the places you used to go to, or anywhere really, without people knowing who you are, or thinking they know you, or just the basic things that any other ordinary person does. It's a bit different, but you kind of have to deal. I think that was the biggest challenge for me, the fact that I'm recognized everywhere I go. And I think I'm very private, so I've had to just be okay with people being in my personal space. That's my biggest challenge.
Absolutely. I mean, I think this happens to every artist. You come into an industry and you have an idea of what your career is going to be, and along the path you find some lessons that only seemingly are applicable to you. Do you remember like a lesson or an event that really grew you up fast?
Sure, that's a hard question to answer. That grew me up fast.
Kind of, a moment that was pivotal for you in knowing who you're going to be in the industry, what you're going to accept and not accept.
I really feel like I'm learning as I go, because every challenge is different, and I think I'm still a baby in it all. It still hasn't really dawned on me that, okay, you are a famous person. So I learn something with every experience. I can't think of a specific one that I felt like this was the defining moment. It hasn't happened, but I feel like I learn every time. Every experience is unique. You also mentioned, when I was looking through the research, that fuller-figured women have a different journey in the industry, and they end up typecast a certain way. How's that experience been for you? I find that I am typecasted, generally. If you look different, if you don't have... One of the biggest things I think I even struggled with my agent was my teeth. A lot of people would be like, you need to fix them, they're not going to work for you, you know? And the one thing my agent said to me, but that's what makes you Andisiwe. That's what makes you so different. And be okay with looking different. And I think as much as bigger women are typecasted as the happy, bubbly girl next door, it's always like the typical, or you play the mom, or you play the understanding sister. It's always just the comforter, because I don't know, I guess thickness means
comforter,
love.
wow.
So as much as that may be, I feel I, as an actress, am okay with pushing the boundaries and looking different in everything that I do. And I think just generally, we're in an industry where your looks are basically what...
defines every single thing about what people think you can offer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as much as bigger women are seen as that, there'll be a director or a producer that thinks, maybe let's try something different. I think I'm quite optimistic in that way, as much as we are typecasted.
Absolutely.
But yes, when you're bigger, you are put into a little box.
Wow.
You know?
Well, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, more conversation with Andisiwe.
Okay, it's not down here yet. Yes, it is going.
Are you ready to sing along? Are you ready to sing along for Mali? How much Imali, uyazi ngokhunta waseSoweto ntwana yami. Uzwa la. Isitayela sami sibanga umsindo.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express on SABC3. We're still on the couch with Andisiwe Dweba. So you had the opportunity of working with the legendary Joe Mafela on 2 different productions.
Yeah.
What do you remember most about him?
Bob Joe was just so many different personalities, I think. The actor that he was definitely the person that he was as well. Bob Joe, which is what we called him, was very pleasant and quiet at times, but at the same time, the bubbliest, most lively person you will ever come across. And he was a father and just a nurturer more than anything, you know. He was always just willing to sit down and have a conversation about whatever, you know, and gave us a lot of advice about the industry. you know, since he's been at it for so many years.
Absolutely.
So more than anything, I think, yeah, he was a father. He was a nurturer.
Yeah.
He was an amazing human being and an
Yeah.
amazing actor, you know?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, I remember those days of watching Sgoodies Nice growing up. I'll never
Yeah,
forget those
Who
days.
else would it know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In recent years, you were part of a campaign called Make It Stop. What was the significance of being part of something so important? And the conversation is still carrying on, and it's still such a huge issue if it's not escalating on many levels.
Look, for me to be part of Make It Stop, is to just bring awareness to a lot of women. And if it is something that a woman is going through, they must know that they can get out.
Yeah.
You know? The whole purpose of the whole campaign was to obviously bring awareness that sometimes if you're not directly affected by abuse, it could be something that someone around you could be going through. And the whole purpose of the campaign was to bring awareness to women to speak out, you know, to talk about it. And if they are, like, I feel like we live in a society where abuse is okay. Yeah. It's become okay. Women are being murdered on the daily, children, you know. But if we keep quiet about it, it's going to continue.
Yes.
Because it's a dirty secret now.
Yeah.
But if we talk about it, then I feel like then we're not going to normalize it anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why it was important for me to be part of that kind of campaign.
Absolutely.
To just bring awareness to women that it's okay to talk about it and get out. You know? Let's make it stop. Because it was, as much as a lot of people criticize about the fact that it was a lot of makeup and whatnot, the reality is that that's actually what happens when we're storytellers and we're telling the story of a woman who could possibly be going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the most powerful tools in that as well is social media, but you also have strong feelings about the role that social media has played lately and some of the negative connotations that come with being famous in South Africa and being exposed to social media.
I feel like globally it's a thing, you know, because social media, we tend to share our personal things as well. So people think they've got a right to say whatever they want.
Yeah.
People have a tendency of thinking being mean, cyberbullying is okay.
Yeah, it's rife.
You are their property because you're a public figure, and they forget that you're actually a human being.
Yeah.
So I think social media has kind of made people extremely insensitive. You know, people think it's okay to say the worst things, the worst things.
How do you handle the controversy that it comes with? I mean, does it get you down, or do you just block and move on?
Honestly speaking, it used to affect me, but I've gotten to a point where, but you don't actually really know me. So whatever you say to me is not really, doesn't really affect me in any way. It's your opinion of whatever it is, and it's probably your own insecurities about whatever it is.
Yeah, and you won't be getting that attention you ordered. Thanks.
No, not on my airtime. Not on my airtime, you know. So yeah, I don't get hurt anymore about it. It's just their own opinion. People always have opinions about you, but that's them.
Yeah.
You know?
Any young up-and-coming actresses who are watching or have aspirations of becoming actresses, what advice would you give them?
Talent alone will not get you far. Work hard, be the best, and learn the business. Educate yourself about absolutely everything about the industry.
Yeah.
The reality is that a lot of people go in there thinking it's just about the fame, and they think it's glam. It's not glam, not even half. It's not glam. It's a lot of hard work and self-discipline more than anything.
Yes.
So love yourself first. Know yourself first. Educate yourself about everything so that no one can tell you anything that you already don't know.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today, Andisiwe. All the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
So we're definitely feeling a lot of woman power in the loft today. After the break, we find out about the top women awards. And if you're a supermom, join us for some nifty arts and crafts ideas to keep the kids busy these school holidays. Don't go away. Welcome back to Afternoon Express, this fantastic Monday afternoon. Now, it's important to talk about gender empowerment, to drive growth in different areas of society. Do you think that we've reached gender equality in the workplace? Well, today we're joined by the director of the Top Woman Awards and publication, Carla Fletcher, and she is here to tell us more. Carla, welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Afternoon.
Thank you. Now, tell me, why do you feel there was a need to come up with the idea of the Top Woman Awards?
Because there is obviously a massive gap in society in terms of equality, especially in the workplace, but from every area in kind of South Africa and also globally. So it's important that we need to start identifying the good stories that are out there, which there are many, and people don't know that all the time. And our research started to identify more and more through the publication.
Yeah.
And then we need to know, who are the big players and what are these people doing, and start recognizing people for their good work so we can emulate it.
Now, I think the awards is in its 14th year.
Yeah.
I mean, how has it grown from 14 years ago to where it is now?
Jeez, wow. I mean, I think we started with 400 qualified companies when we first started.
Yeah.
That was in the publication through our research. We're now sitting in about 2,500 organizations. So there's a lot of good work going on. There's also a lot more programs that are happening, and we're seeing a lot more collaborations. So there is a huge effort, I think, from policy all the way to individuals and kind of the mentality and the societal mentality.
Am I correct in saying that now South Africa ranks as #1 in terms of the most female CEOs and directors across all sectors, but it's still only at something like 11.6%. Why is it still so low? And do you think that we will ever see a 50-50 status?
We're aiming for a 50-50 status.
Yeah.
So I think generally South Africa is doing well if you are comparing it worldwide, but it's still not enough. And I think in government we do relatively well. There are a lot of good programs that are happening in the corporate sector, but it's not enough. And what needs to happen is we need to start looking at youth, and we also need to start looking at male representation and encouragement.
Yeah.
Having men, I think a lot of women have male mentors and don't say that enough. They're always looking for a female mentor. And the roles that men can play is huge in gender empowerment as well.
Yeah, I think it is quite interesting. I've got a male mentor, and I think
Mine
there's
was
nothing wrong
too,
with it.
and I think we need to start sharing that, because so we work with the United Nations, and they've got a campaign called He for She campaign, which is about male ambassadors supporting gender empowerment, from presidents to actors to big business CEOs.
Exactly. Now, who exactly is nominated this year? Oh, no, actually, you said nominations are still open.
Yeah.
So who could be nominated for the Top Woman Awards?
I mean, we have a variety. So we look at everybody who's involved or could impact gender empowerment. So we look at companies, especially because of the employment rates that they have, and they have a big impact and big budgets, so there's a lot they can do. And we want to know what programs they're doing to accelerate gender empowerment. So we look at all organizations, big organizations across all sectors.
Yeah.
And then we look at individuals. So we look at your kind of top businesswoman of the year, and we look at the young entrepreneurs and the young achievers. You are getting this kind of digital disruption at the moment. So what's happening in the new sectors and what's happening in kind of the digital sphere.
Yeah.
But so it varies across landscapes. And we also look at government, we look at CSI. So wherever you are in terms of gender empowerment, there's an opportunity to be recognised. And we would like people, I think the one thing I've realised and learnt over the years is women don't want to put their hand up often enough to be recognised.
But are they nominating themselves, or are other people nominating them?
It's a combination. So there are organisations that we have research on, and we say to them, look, we've researched you, and what you're doing is really great, and we want you to submit your programs and tell us what you're doing. And then we have campaigns externally where we say to women, hey, you're doing great work, come and get recognised for an award, because look what it does for your business.
Yeah.
People want to work with award-winning businesses. And companies are looking for entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs who are successful, or executives, that they can take into their supply chain because they have to, and need to support them. So it really, there is an opportunity across spectrums for people to be recognised.
And the future is so bright for a woman now if you do have, you know, that entrepreneurship qualities and an interest in business. What's the vetting process like? Because it's got to be really credible, I'm sure, and you must get so many nominees in. How do you guarantee that the people coming through are legit?
So, I mean, we do turn people and organisations away. Obviously, and this year we've had an outstanding amount of interest and applications. And in terms of the organisations, a lot of the research is done ourselves, and there's a lot of data that we look at. So we look at things like turnover, and we look at their percentage of employees, of staff, and how many women they have, and what they spend. And then it goes through, so we do a short list internally, and then it goes through a vetting process externally, where we have judges, which are, you know, professors and advocates and captains of industry and previous winners. So we have, and they really test us and put us to the test. So if we're not, if they think we're not cutting it the one year, we've got to improve the benchmark the following year for being rather cutthroat. And people submit via videos and give us, you know, the best thing that we look for is what's your impact really been? And that's the outcome of what we want to know, not just that, you know, you started a company and are running it greatly. What's your impact? That's a great question. Now, there's not just the Top Woman Awards. There's also the whole conference attached to it. What exactly happens there, and what is the relevance, I suppose, and the reason for having the two? So when you're recognising companies, it's great, and people say to us, you know, it's fantastic. But what have these guys really done, and how do they do it? Because success breeds success. And I want to learn how, if I'm Anglo-American and I'm in mining, and how I've managed to employ more women, or put them through a skills program, or been able to, you know, affect a community where women abuse isn't happening anymore. And I want to do the same thing in Anglo-American, for example. I'm just giving an example, I'm not saying that they have. How do we emulate that? And so the conference is there to look at all stakeholders in terms of government, in terms of individuals, business owners, and big captains of industry to collaborate and talk around those successful policies or programs that they've implemented through the awards. But we've also taken it a step further, so we're working with Standard Bank as well. Standard Bank is our major owning sponsor of the whole brand, and they're working with us, and we're partnering with them, and they've got an accelerator program in the Standard Bank Incubator Hub. So we're going to be using the conference to bring some entrepreneurs and award winners and big industry together to see how we can get some more mentorship going, how we can get more entrepreneurs developed.
What an amazing opportunity to network.
And the women are, when they network, they really do buzz. It hums. It's like electricity in that room. It does not stop. Somebody like Jenna Clifford will come on, and she puts on like this big loud song before she gets on, and it's like a bit of rock star. And then you've got the big players like Thuli Madonsela. Amazing. So it's a lot of fun, and you get a lot out of it. And what a great awards! I mean, fantastic. Thank you so much for all of the work that you do. Thank you. Thank you so much for chatting to us as well. Thank you. Now, the closing date for these prestigious awards is the 21st of July. To enter, visit www.topwoman.co.za.
A creamy and healthy snack for the whole family. Snack Pack, made with love by Clover.
So we're so excited now to spend some time playing games like all adults should do. Being a top woman might mean a very busy lifestyle, but Clover Snack Pack yogurt is the perfect everyday snack for when you're on the go and just feels like you need a bit of a treat. So now the fun doesn't have to stop there. Cynthia and her little helpers show us how to make a selection of cool little treats and arts and crafts out of these snack packs. So Cynthia and kids, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So Nelly, you look very nervous, dude.
No.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Because look, I've been trying to do this thing the whole day and he's been laughing at me. I can't manage to... Can you do it better than me?
Yeah. Yes.
Show me how to make this work? Oh gosh. Chuma is saying like, oh no, he's never going to be as good as she is, eh?
You can do it. No.
All right, well, let's first show us how to make them itself before we get going. So Cynthia, what are we going to do today? What are we learning?
Okay, Chuma is going to do this, something to pack for the friends. Something like this, make it nice. I know she can do it. She can do it very well. Okay. And my son is going to do a garden. which is going to put some soil and put something nice for a friend also.
Okay. Are you guys on school holiday at the moment?
Yes.
So you guys have lots of time to do this. Chuma, are we going to be chomas?
Maybe.
Oh, depends on these crafts you're going to work on. Let's get going. Show us how to make your cute little packs over there.
Okay, I'm going to use a container, and then I'm going to use some...
Ribbons?
Yeah, ribbons, yes.
Yeah. So now I'm going to need some glue.
Yes.
This is quite an interesting process. It's great for gifts for your friends for school, right?
Yeah.
No, you're
Mom, would you help
this
me?
side. Let me just help you quick.
See,
You just
Mom's
put
an
a little bit.
piece, all right?
So in a little bit on this side. To make sure it's going to stick, because remember we're doing a
basket.
Nice basket, so it must stick.
And I guess it's really cool to do this during school holidays, because obviously being a mom and being busy, like you kind of want to keep everyone busy during the time.
Yes, it helps me a lot because I spend more time with them, which is, and I show how to do all those stuffs. And then because Cape Town is very cold, so we just get in the house to make sure we do all those things. Don't have time to go out.
Yeah, exactly.
So as a mother, I must make sure everything is in place, and I must make sure I'm always there for them.
And what's so cool about this project here is because obviously we're using recycled snack packs, which is awesome. So you don't have to worry about like necessarily recycling your goods, whatever you're doing. So good for the environment and also having lots of fun in the process.
Yeah, not at all. I'm telling you, it's excellent. I'm using clover. I make sure in the morning I'm giving them the yogurts. And just after 10 o'clock, I'm giving them a fruit yogurt. Also, I'm also using clover. Then we don't throw it away. We make sure we use some craft like this one.
Love it.
So I just enjoy each and every time. Then put your...
That's enough butterflies.
Yeah,
How many
that's
butterflies
enough,
do you want on your thing?
No, just put 2 and then put your eyes in.
I'm terrible with arts and crafts. It's honestly the one thing that I can't do in life is do any kind of packing. Don't make me wrap a box. Don't make me wrap a gift. Don't make me do anything like that. This is the one thing that I'm learning a lot from here. So I hope you guys are learning something too with us at home. There we go. The eyes are going to be on, and then you can just pour some nice treats in there.
And then it's almost done. You just put your sweets.
Lovely.
All your chocolate close to it, Madonna.
Okay, so Sanele, what are we going to be making this side, dude?
We're going to do the garden. So, just show me how to do.
I start with putting...
Yes. Put more.
What is that over there? Is that all the soil?
That's all the soil.
You can make mess, boy. You're allowed to make as much mess as you like. This is the fun thing about being a parent. I don't have to clean it up.
There you go. It's just to make sure they're busy. Instead of going outside, catch a flu, they must be inside, do all this mess. I don't mind after mess, I'll just clean it. As long as I know, okay, there you go. That's enough.
Cool. And you're going to throw that in there, put some seeds in. Here are your seeds.
There you take your seeds and then mix with it.
What seeds are we making? Is this a rocket?
Which one are you going to do? Okay, don't matter. Just do it. Yeah, just do it. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. Which color do you want to use?
Green.
Green.
Cool.
Okay.
And then also, if you guys want to create other little arts and crafts, these are really fun to make. It's taken me the whole day, literally, to have fun and play with these different gifts. You've got like the little yogurt container. You can somagooi it like this, and then you can play games the whole time. So decorate it like you would decorate a normal gift for yourself, or like the boxes we've created over there. Stick a piece of string through it and tie a bit of cotton wool to the end, which will be really cool. And then after the cotton wool's tied to the end, you kind of thread it through the container, and it becomes an endless toy that you can play with forever and ever and ever. It literally kept me going for a very, very long time. There we go. And if you guys think you've got some really cool ideas on how you can use the Clover Snack Packs in some creative ways for arts and crafts, you can send them to us on our Facebook page, Afternoon Express, or on our Twitter page, Afternoon Chat, using that official hashtag Afternoon Express.
Definitely some good ideas to keep my kids busy these school holidays. After the break, we have TV and radio personality Siphiwo Nzawumbi on being successful in the media industry at a really young age. We'll be right back.
A creamy and healthy snack for the whole family. Snack Pack, made with love by Clover.
Well, welcome back to Afternoon Express. We're live on SABC3 as we celebrate the creative arts. And our next is our youngest guest in the loft today, speaking about these. He has been dubbed the stage prince by ex-President Thabo Mbeki. His go-getter attitude has made him an established TV and radio personality. Siphiwo's speech is in the loft today, and he tells us a little bit more about his voice and how he's giving a voice to the voiceless and how he acts as an ambassador of change. Welcome to our loft.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's so exciting to see young people like yourself in the industry making such waves and knowing very clearly of what you want to go and get, because I'm seeing so much of my career sort of following the same path that your career has been following over the last while. So let's begin about how you broke into this industry. So grew up in the Eastern Cape, and then what happened?
So I grew up in the Eastern Cape, studied journalism, broadcasting and journalism altogether, and then eventually after that my initial plan was to be in broadcasting, do TV presenting and radio presenting, but I had to take a detour from that. So having studied journalism, I did quite a lot of things. I went into print, and I realized it wasn't actually what I wanted to do. And then I went into communications. And then when I got into communications, I also realized that it's not really what I want to do, but something I can do, but not entirely my passion. And then in 2014, that's when everything actually fell into place. Had auditioned for a couple of shows, as you'd know, the drill in the industry, trying to get in. But eventually, I always say what was mine. Actually, the show that eventually found me, You Don't Get a Luck on SABC1, it found me more than me going after it. Yes. How everything happened, it just fell into place, and immediately after that, I started doing a couple of other things, and now we're doing radio.
I'm so excited for you. We'll talk more about that new radio gig now in just a bit. I want to unpack the entire sort of story, but let's unbox all those different parts that you mentioned. So growing up in the Eastern Cape and then deciding to go and study, was life easy for you growing up? Like, was it one of those careers that just sort of, like, you just sailed into getting a degree and moving forward?
Look, my family wanted me to do law because I was a public speaker and debater in high school, but I had a different dream altogether for myself, and I'm sure a lot of people in the industry would relate to that. I wanted to be in the showbiz, do totally different things, but I think when I was auditioning for different shows, then that's when it came across that I'll do more talk, because you know, that's where I find most of my strength, and I leverage quite a lot when it comes to my abilities. So my family, I think when I did You Don't Get a Luck in 2014, when I got my first gig, that's when they thought, okay, maybe maybe there's something in this, but it wasn't. There wasn't a bar on what you can do, what you cannot do. I was given the the freedom to choose what I want to do, and to go after my passion as well.
What I find very harrowing about your journey was that, I mean, a lot of youngsters who want to break into industries like this, something can drastically change in your life that could prevent you from wanting to get there or trying to get there. And I mean, you lost your parents, both of your parents, at a very, very young age. How did that impact the journey? I mean, doesn't that completely just change your viewpoint on life, or did it give you a new reason to carry on going forward?
It actually gave me purpose. It gave me a voice. I was raised by a wonderful woman, my grandmother. She didn't have much. She was a laundry worker. She didn't have much education as well. But one thing she instilled in us was a sense of ownership. Own yourself and know that there's much more in you. The person who's coming from a privileged family has got absolutely nothing more or above you. You are created in the wonderful image of God, and I mean, coming from a Christian family, there's a sense of values that are instilled in you, which you carry on with, you grow up with. I grew up in a normal family. I won't lie and say I grew up in a family where we had to struggle for bread. It was a normal family with wonderful childhood memories. Of course, there will be times where you don't have something or whatever that you want, and and any parent, as they would say, wait for month end or whatever. But more than anything, also my grandmother instilled a sense of belonging in us, to know that you're loved by your family and that you're appreciated by the community that you're coming from.
Is the most important thing, for a lot of youngsters, not feeling that support of the community around
Exactly.
them.
More than anything, it taught us to dream beyond the hills and valleys of the Transkei. I mean, I'm coming from Monterey. It's a very small rural town, far from Umtata.
It's so beautiful.
It is. Oh, well, for somebody who's not from there. But when you're used to the city, or you dream of the city, and you eventually get into the city, you start to appreciate the beauty of your own small village. But when you're in Monterey, there isn't much. People grow up and be teachers. You aspire to be doctors and lawyers, as my family had a dream for me as well. But I wanted to do something totally different. So my family and my grandmother, I think the support that they gave me, and of course the love to be told that you can be anything that you aspire to be, that pushed me to push boundaries and to be what I wanted to be.
Oh, stunning. So you had that support structure behind you. Clearly you had a talent, because this voice that is just booming from you is just so unique. I don't think I've ever heard a voice like yours before. So you were designed, I think, in so many ways to broadcast in what you did. But what I find fascinating is you left varsity with your communications or your media degree,
my journalism
degree, and then you went into politics. But
it wasn't politics
precisely.
Parliament it was communication. So this is how it happened. After I finished my undergrad, and then I decided to do my BTech postgrad, because my family was like, listen, if you don't find what you're looking for now, rather pursue education if there's an opportunity to do that. And I think 2 weeks before graduation, and then a call came through after I forwarded my application. Actually, my uncle, who was working in Cape Town, is still in Cape Town, he told me of an opportunity that is in communications in Parliament. And I forwarded my application. Didn't know that I was going to be successful because the requirements were quite stiff.
I'm sure.
So when I eventually got in, I mean, I did that for about 2.5 years, and I think my passion came back knocking, because in university I was doing community radio. What's this? A campus radio station. I started as a news reader, and then I got into different things, also started doing voiceovers at the age of 18, 17 when I got to university. So I think that bug, the minute it bites you, you can do different things throughout the spectrum. It will come back and bite you.
So I'm seeing a very clear trend with you, and I think it's something that all youngsters need to take advice from breaking into the industry. You seem to be a doer. You just keep doing things along the way, and doors will open up as you go, and more doors will do that.
I keep moving. This is what I was taught. You can't stay in one place. Forever and hope that you are just going to miraculously grow. I always
just shoot to stardom. One day you'll get your big break.
No,
and
it
you'll
won't
be
happen.
famous.
You need to, I think also because something that I was taught at home, also looking at my situation, having lost my parents at a young age, and of course coming from a family of hard workers, people who pursue their careers at a young age. So I had no leverage of just sitting at home or taking a gap here. If plan A doesn't work, go for plan B. Plan A can always bounce back when the time is right.
Exactly.
So I think I took that principle and I ran with it.
Lovely. That's how you ended up sort of doing communications, I'd imagine, was like, it's something kind of in my field. It's
something
work for
I can
now.
do, I'm qualified to do. Plus, I mean, I'll earn, I'll get money, because we want the good money, of course.
Then you took the risk and you resigned. And I think that was a very brave thing for you to do. Did you resign with already work in the pipeline, or did you resign with an intention to look for new work?
Now, this is quite interesting, because people thought at the time I had something. When I went to tell my family, listen, I'm leaving this job. I'm going to look for a dream. I'm searching. I'm running after a dream. I mean, definitely my family thought, what? How do you leave a stable job and go for something that has no guarantees, you know, something you have no certainty of altogether? But because they know the character that I have, they know the kind of person that I have, if I'm determined, I go after something. So they allowed me to, you know, they said, it's fine, go after it. I didn't have anything. But I was determined, and I felt like it was my season, man. Like, you know, something is going to come. And plus I was 23, so age was permitting as well, because I didn't have responsibilities or a family, you know, to look after. So I went to Johannesburg. There's a friend of mine who said, listen, you can come to my place, resign, just save up whatever you have, and then you can go hustle. I did the door-to-door. And I think 2 months later, I auditioned for Ilungelolakho, and they called me.
Amazing. And now you've become a voice for young people in so many ways, because of the platforms you've worked on, but because you're so passionate about it too. What has that voice tried to share with young people in the country? Because you've had so many chances to do that, and especially with, you know, what you mentioned now about being a young person, taking those risks in terms of going to really follow your passions. I mean, what have you found that you're trying to be the voice of?
You know, I'll just feed off the words of Lupita Nyong'o, the famous words that it doesn't matter where you come from, your dreams are valid. I think you know that. And that's exactly the gospel that I'm trying to preach to young people, you know, that it doesn't matter whether you're coming from the hills and valleys of the Transkei, it doesn't matter whether you're coming from an unstable family, you know, it doesn't matter how many times you've been told that, you know, you're not good enough, or you won't get these opportunities in the industries. There will be many no's that you'll encounter in your journey, because I think we're living in a generation where people face few downfalls or setbacks, and then they think, this is not for me. I've been there as well, you know, it's not nice knowing that you have an ability to do something, and then when you eventually, when you feel right that it's time to do it, then you get all those no's. So the gospel that I'm preaching is, listen, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter which surname you carry. What matters is what's inside of you and what you believe that you've got. So the ability that you have in you, it doesn't matter whether Upumem Kukwini in the shacks, or you're from the deep rural Transkei, or Sandton for that matter. You've got your own ID, and that's what matters.
I feel like you're preaching straight to
Hallelujah.
my soul. It's awesome.
Preach.
Amen, Spitch. Listen, I really want to unpack what's going on in your head of yours, because you've clearly got big dreams for your life. And I mean, you just landed a new gig on one of the biggest radio stations in the country. And everyone's loving having you there. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. So more to come with Siphiwo Speech after the break. Stay right where you are. Warm welcome back to Afternoon Express live on SABC3. It's a motivational Monday, and boy, are we being motivated by speech in the Loft with us today. We've put a lot about your career thus far, and the girls and I have obviously got so many questions to ask you because you really are paving the way for other young people. And your new job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about it.
No, that's an exciting one. I think to be a part of Brandon Mhlabane is quite huge. I mean, 5.5 million listeners.
Is it not the biggest in the
country?
It's
the second biggest. Ukosi is the biggest.
Okay.
But I mean, we're going there. We're right after them.
And you're going to be speaking fluent Xhosa.
Fluent
Xhosa, 100%
Xhosa. Yes, every day. I mean, there's a challenge to learn. You learn something new every day. Also, it's exciting because, I mean, working with a team of, I mean, my producer is quite exciting. And besides exciting, he's well experienced. He's been doing this for years. Also, my co-host is an exciting guy. Also, the listeners, you know, the feedback that you get, it's constructive, quite constructive. Exactly. All the listeners.
So what do you guys talk about now? It's like, when you think about getting a new radio slot, your mind must go in a million directions of what am I going to do? How am I going to make this show great? What are you guys deciding on focusing on?
I think we're basing our show more on originality. You know, be original because you're speaking to... Because, you know, with radio, it can be tricky. It's unlike television where you can mix with gimmicks and all that. You have to speak to the listener. Don't speak above them. Don't speak above your LSMs. Don't speak below your LSMs as well. So try to engage and fuse yourself into conversations that make their heart beat. And so when we do that, when we put together content, when we sit down, and of course with the support, amazing support of the management, that's what, you know, we come up with. You know, we try to think about conversations that our listeners are talking about. And of course, you know, every day is a challenge to think. You know, think out of the box and be as creative as possible.
If you think that's a challenge, so, you know, all of us on the couch at the moment, all of us have either been in radio or are in radio at some point. So when I started on radio, the internet hadn't even been invented yet.
So you had to do cutaways and read magazines.
My research was literally newspaper, cutaways, magazines, and having to actually have a research file every single day on information because you can't just quickly check on your phone to see what's happening. You can't quickly just use Google. So do you know how hard it is then every day to come up with mistakes? Thank goodness that era is over.
Speaking of the internet and social media, how has access to social media opened up the industry in your experience? And has it made it easy for people to break into the industry?
I think we're living in a very exciting time. We're living in a time where, you know, you can just, at the palm of your hand, you can carry the whole world, entirely the whole world. I mean, Twitter is quite broad, even though it's just a portion of the views that are out there. But I think because it's quite engaging and you engage people from different walks of life. For me personally, I chose to be active, I think, 2015. Because I saw that, you know, everybody was talking about Twitter. Because I had an old Twitter account in 2009 or 2010, then I deactivated that. And then 2012, I decided to have a new account, but I was only active in 2015. And Twitter has changed my life in a way, you know, because you come across views from different walks of life, like I said. Also, as far as the industry is concerned, there isn't much, because I think when I decided to be active on Twitter, I was already in the industry. But I was on a different side of television altogether, because I was doing hard talk and current affairs.
But do Twilibs make it? Are Twilibs the people who are going to make it as industry people, do you think?
I think the time has come. The time has come for other platforms of broadcasting to start absorbing people, you know, without asking them to post videos of their auditions online or otherwise. I mean, that's good because, you know, it cuts the long queues and all that. But I think social media is creating an innovation that's going to sort of absorb influencers and as you call them, Twilibs, and all sorts of people who are dominating the social media space, but who are looking for either one thing or totally different things.
But having said that, I mean, when I've looked at the hashtag Open Up the Industry conversations on Twitter,
it trended last year,
yeah, it was a huge deal, and it's still quite topical. And people complain that people use shows and series, use the same faces over and over. As much as I'm opposed to that, the only time people complain about people building experience is in the entertainment industry. If you go and see a doctor and it's the same doctor you've been seeing for 2 years, you don't say, this is boring, I don't want to see the same doctor's face.
I feel like this conversation is going to take over the show. So how about you guys continue the conversation? Continue that conversation at home. I think it's a really important one to have. So use the hashtag Afternoon Express, share all your views with us, because I'm sure we're going to go online right now and share ours. You're amazing. Thank you for coming to join us.
Thank you for having me.
What an amazing show. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. It's Cook Along.
Yeah, with Grunrad. He's going to be in the loft. So we'll see you then. Cheers. Good night. Happy eating.
Tomorrow on Afternoon Express, it's Cook Along Tuesday. Local comedy legend Kurt Schoonrad joins us for some fun in the kitchen as our resident chef Clem creates a tasty menu including a honey milk panna cotta.
Afternoon Express, made with love by Clover.
Another feel-good production.